Hello and welcome to the Tifo Football Podcast. I'm Joe Devine, and today I'm delighted to be joined by JJ Bull.
I found a parrot mask I'd like.
Yeah, you mentioned that later on in the podcast, don't you?
If it makes it in, yeah.
We talk about parrots later on. I think you're saying it in the intro so that it does make it in. That's pretty sneaky. Kaynak.
I wanted to start this episode again. I thought about starting it again with a North London Forever song, but I kind of think...
I thought you were saying you want to start the episode again.
Yeah, let's run it back.
All right.
No, I think I should show the trait of Arsenal fans that I think everyone in this room will agree is most prominent, and just show some magnanimity and just say, yeah, hi.
I've always thought of Kaya and Steve as very magnanimous.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
I always think of magnanimous.
Yeah, I always think of magnums.
Yes.
Also, Alex Barker's here.
Hello.
I mean, it's sort of a misnomer that Alex Barker's here, because Alex Barker is only here because he gave someone a thorough barkering in the... in Points Are Bad, sitting in place of Nick Miller, who had to leave at a specific. He had what's known in the entertainment industry as a hard out.
I was sure you were going to say a Miller time.
As meal time, yeah. He had to leave at meal time, which is
no Miller time.
Is incidentally. No, I call him the millman. Meal time.
I see.
You got to go and do
Mine's
something.
like an advert thing.
What's Miller time?
Oh, Muller. No,
what was
that?
Miller the beer.
What about Muller Light? Muller Fresh?
Corner.
Muller
Rice.
Muller Fresh, yes, that's right.
Anyway, he had to go, so we replaced him with Alex Barker in order to complete Points Are Bad, and you'll have to hang on till later to find out who Alex was barkering today. Now, also Steve Hankey's here.
Hello.
So what did we talk about on today's podcast episode? Here we go. How many bums were squeaking in the lead up to the North London derby, and how many have been soothed since Arsenal's victory? At least one sat beside me here. Kaya's bottom, of course, is the one I refer to. Does IQ drop in stressful situations, causing footballers, right, Steve, to make mistakes? Well, JJ certainly thinks so. Stick around to hear him talk about that shortly. For which team would relegation be the funniest? Would it be Leeds or Nottingham Forest, West Ham or Tottenham? We discuss and we go through and methodically list all the reasons as to why each would be funny. Stick around for that, particularly if you're a fan of one of those teams. Then we play the Rondo. Oh, it's another bad day for JJ. You're getting a Rondo reputation.
I'm a serious journalist.
Yeah, I know. And no, look, recall isn't everyone's strength, is it?
I might not remember things. I might not get everything right. I might make obvious errors.
Yeah.
I'm still a boy with dreams.
Well, I mean, you certainly have dreams. Yeah,
yes.
Big dreams.
I'll get that parrot mask.
His IQ definitely dropped due to the stress there, right, Steve, during the Rondo. After the Rondo, of course, we talk about Nottingham Forest. Nick guides us through a helter-skelter season for the Tricky Trees, doesn't he? That was fun. And then Nick had to leave, as previously discussed. He's a busy man. We discover what JJ has been shopping for. 3 guesses as to what that was. And then we play Points Are Bad. And as you'll see at that point, a barkering does occur. And that was the show. Although I feel as though that intro wasn't sort of Arsenal friendly enough. You know?
As Kaya has said, I'm just trying to be magnanimous.
Always.
Mainly because I had a real freak out on Wednesday after the Wolves game.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Well, don't worry, guys. I don't think you need to be magnanimous. Magnanimous?
There's a lot of Arsenal in here as well.
There was quite a lot of Arsenal.
We are involved in Arsenal an awful lot.
Let's just do an Arsenal intro, though. I think we should just do a quick Arsenal.
Fine, yeah.
You ready?
I want a Magnum now really badly.
Me too.
actually.
Good
I think we
lord.
get Alex to talk about Gyökeres.
That's what I was going to do in my Arsenal intro.
Okay.
Yeah, it goes like this. It goes, hello and welcome to the Tifo Arsenal podcast. I'm Mikel Arteta, and I'm joined by Steve Hankey.
No.
And Kaya Kaynak.
Whatever the weather.
Whatever the weather. And no one else is here, because that's how the Tifo Arsenal podcast works. Except Alex Barker's here. Specifically, we forgot to do this during the episode, Alex Barker. We forgot to say that Victor Gyökeres scored a brace. He was man of the match. Here's something, though. John McKenzie did wryly point out in the WhatsApp group that, as we've discussed previously, when you look at the teams that Victor Gyökeres scores against, they're pretty much all the newly promoted teams, which he did cause him to wonder whether that means that Spurs are definitely going to get relegated, you know?
Facts are facts.
Yeah.
I mean, I will not talk necessarily about Victor Gyökeres here. I will tell the audience why I am being probeless, and it's because of the man to my left. I think when...
That's Kaynak.
That is Kaynak. I think when some people get cancelled online due to things getting leaked,
whoa.
it's quite often like nudes or explicit messages. For Kaya, it will be images he has sent to me of him doing the Victor Gyökeres celebration. We've had a back and forth all season. It's quite fun, really. Kaya comes to me and says, "Oh, Alex, look, my favourite striker might be on form. I really like watching my football team." And then I'll come back with saying, "Oh, there you go. Gyökeres has almost scored as many open play goals against non-promoted teams and he has promoted teams," and he sits and sulks. And this is his 1 week where he's been able to celebrate. So we should smile for Kaya. And I can't wait for the episode where I'm on and we get to bring our WhatsApp conversation into the public.
This has backfired massively for me. Yeah.
As it always does.
If you are going to send unsolicited images of you doing your Gyökeres celebration, the best way to do that and not be identified is a parrot mask. Available now.
Where else to begin, of course, than with the North London derby, #NLD. Don't smile at me too much, Kaya.
Why not?
I don't like it when you smile at me like that. Of course, I refer to Tottenham 1 for Arsenal, which I think was a repeat of the scoreline from...
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that explains why he's smiling. Here we go, right, Steve. Arsenal beat Spurs 4-1 for the second time, this season, to restore their 5-point lead at the top of the table. Eberechi Eze scored for a fourth and fifth time against Spurs this season, and Victor Gyökeres scored a brace in a man-of-the-match performance, right, Steve? At the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. For Spurs, of course, the gap between them and the drop has narrowed further, with only 4 points separating them from the relegation zone. So it really is a squeaky bum time. At least it kind of is sort of at both ends of the table, isn't it? I mean, I was not sure what was going to happen in this game. I think I've done very badly in points of bad this week, Kaya, because I'm pretty sure I predicted Spurs might win this game. It had the feeling of a game where, you know, they jettison their manager, they bring a new champion in. Yeah. Arsenal have been a little wobbly of late. And Arsenal didn't look brilliant in the game, but Spurs were so bad that it didn't really seem to matter. This is arguably exactly the result Arsenal needed at the right time.
Yeah, going into the game, my bum was a squeaking because I was worried in the sense that Arsenal had produced one really poor performance against Wolves and then dropped points against Brentford in a game where they weren't near their best. And I think the most frustrating thing about the Wolves game was Wolves are, currently tracking to potentially be statistically the worst team in Premier League history. They'll probably beat Derby's record, but they're on less points than Derby managed.
Are they still on less points than Derby?
They're still on less points than Derby.
No
I think
way.
If they'd held on against Palace, they would have levelled Derby's total, but they didn't because Evan Gesson scored in the last minute. But
you're right. They're on 10 points. Derby had 11, famously,
yes,
right?
Correct.
Wow.
Yes. So it was really bad, basically, to draw against them. And the way they drew against Wolves was almost totally self-inflicted. It wasn't as if Wolves produced a performance that had caused Arsenal lots of problems and the kind of game they should have been dropping points. It was really poor. And I
shared with you, didn't I, over the weekend? Did you see this? The TikTok that Wolves put out after the game. That was very funny. They put out a fantastic editorialized compilation of Arsenal's time wasting.
Yeah, I wasn't smiling so much watching that.
Oh man, that's one of the great moments of shithousery all season. I would say I really, really enjoyed that.
I suppose apart from Eberechi Eze scoring 5 goals against Spurs, who we nearly signed for, that'd be quite high up there too. But yeah, going into the game, obviously the narrative around Arsenal was they're kind of choking under the pressure. City had won the day before, and the gap had closed to 2 points for the first time in a long time. I think the title is technically in City's hands. It's also in Arsenal's hands, but obviously City are at home in that big head-to-head clash between the two. So it kind of felt like Arsenal were faltering, and it's not just a Wolves thing. It's kind of been since the turn of the year. I think they've got 10 points from 21, which is not title-winning form. So the fear going into it was that this kind of game, particularly with Spurs having their new manager in place and the atmosphere around the stadium being quite excited and happy and sort of hoping for a reinvigorated performance, the fear was it was a potential banana skin for Arsenal. But yeah, they didn't do that. Despite Declan Rice's best efforts at times, they didn't quite succumb to it, yeah.
Well, as Kaya mentioned, JJ, Declan Rice with a kind of, a funny error directly leading to a goal. It turns out Arsenal have actually made a few of these errors. There was a great Charlie Eccleshare tweet after the game that said 4 of the 8 league goals that Arsenal have conceded in 2026 have been major defensive gaffes. 3 of the others have been spectacular strikes from range. You mentioned this in the WhatsApp at the time as well, didn't you, about individual errors?
No, Steve was saying that he thought that they'd played lots of minutes, and so they'd be tired, so they'd be making errors.
Oh.
And so I looked it up to try and support his theory.
Right.
And
was it supported?
Well, I think it's more that they tend to be the players who are closest to their own goal, and so if you lose the ball there, you're in trouble. Like Declan Rice is trying to double touch it around a player, which he does all the time to try and get out of danger.
Sure.
And when you get it wrong, you say, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that there," but it's not. I don't know. It worked out badly for him, obviously. But it's an interesting debate has been had between Kaya and Steve this morning over whether it's because they've played too many games and that's why they're making errors. What do you think, Kaya?
I kind of think it's more the pressure potentially getting to them than the
They want it
games.
Too much, don't they?
That's the narrative that I think
All
Arteta
you
tried to
fans-
spin before the game. And yeah, the fans, I think, arguably do want it too much. I think that's been a little bit of a problem this season. But I don't think you can really blame the fans for how the team have been performing on the pitch. And I think Arsenal, until they get over the line, they'll always have that tag against them. And I think some of the players who have made these errors, you wouldn't expect them to make these kind of errors. Like Gabriel was pretty imperious in the first half of the season before he got injured. Martin Zubimendi had barely put a foot wrong. Urian Timber, I think, made an error, and he's been pretty flawless as well. So these kind of guys kind of out of nowhere are popping up with these errors. And it's a bit of a surprise because it's costing Arsenal. And a lot of them come straight after they scored as well. So Rice's was 24 seconds, but I think that's obviously the most quick. But Hugo Bueno's goal for Wolves, there wasn't an error leading up to it, but that was straight away after the goal. There was an error that obviously David Raya made towards the end. And these players who've been solid all season are suddenly making errors. And I don't know if it's tiredness because I kind of think that can't really be an excuse. They had a day off, most of those players against Wigan before the Wolves game, and they still made those errors. I think it's potentially the pressure. I mean, there's like studies about how IQ drops under intense stress, and I think maybe
Don't I know it?
exactly, and maybe they're just feeling a bit of stress, which is understandable, but probably the biggest hurdle that Arsenal have to overcome.
Well, here's more stats for you to either back up or take it down.
Are these about your IQ?
What mean you? The errors leading to goals. I'm on Opta's thing. You know,
Right.
I can search for stuff online.
On Optus thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have an investigative tool, and that's what people call me. So the most errors leading to goals has been by Emiliano Martinez. I read good.
Yeah.
Second most is Radu Draguzan. Do you think he makes mistakes because he's tired, Kaya?
He's been out with an ACL
He's
almost
played
the
6
entire
games.
season. That's quite impressive.
Josh Achimpong, probably because he's young. Probably why. Emmanuel Agbadu.
I'm so glad that I didn't use this as the Rondo category, by the way, because I nearly did, and then I remembered you guys were sharing it.
Well, I have my investigative tool.
Right, yeah.
So, I don't know. Martin Zubimendi's made 2. The only one I remember is when he passes it across the pitch and then it's intercepted, right?
United one, yeah.
Yeah, so that you just shouldn't do that anyway.
Yeah.
But also, someone made a pass like that yesterday for Spurs, I think it was, like straight across his goal, and Arsenal intercepted it. I think it was
Simmons.
Simmons. Oh, he was not very good in that game. Put it across his own box. You shouldn't really do that. You're supposed to not do that, says the coaches. But you know what? If you do and it works.
Everyone says, hey, do that.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone always has these opinions on the things you've done. If they work, you're like, well done. If they don't, you're like, oh, what an idiot.
That's true. In fact, John and I talked about this on the De Zerbi podcast that we recorded last week, which is, I think the theme of that podcast is, if you win, people say what you did was good because you won. But if you don't win, people say, oh, you shouldn't have done that then.
It drives me nuts because it's
really stupid.
People just can't understand it, and then they just go to town on you, especially if you make an opinion on it.
Yeah.
Like errors leading to shots. I know a lot of these data things, if you actually watch them, you can sort of see the circumstances, what they're in, how they receive the ball, like how someone's passed the ball to them. Did they put it to the stronger foot? Were they able to turn? Were they not aware of what's going on? Like James Tarkowski has made the most errors leading to shots. He has played quite a lot of minutes, but is it because he's bad at football? Is it because he's tired? Or is it because he's the last man? And often he's getting these situations where this sort of happens. And I think lots of players or teams playing against Arsenal are like, they just don't give up anything. Like they're just insanely good. And so when you get a chance to take them down, and everyone wants to because they're very annoying. People don't really like Arsenal. We don't support Arsenal at the moment.
Yeah.
For various reasons. I don't care, right? So before anyone starts going like anti-Arsenal, I don't care.
Yeah.
But the people, so other teams going at them, if they get that one slight advantage, you'll take it and something happens. It reminds me of what happened to Man City maybe a couple of seasons ago.
Mm-hmm.
They're conceding like the first chance and goal and it was always going in. And the players who are making those mistakes...
That was last season, wasn't it?
It might be...
Beginning of last season.
It feels like 2 seasons ago, but maybe it was last season,
Yeah.
But it is related to where you are on the pitch, I guess. Like if Zubimendi is the last man and he's only got one defender to pass to, or it's the goalkeeper, it's more than likely any error there is going to cause an issue. If Declan Rice tries that double touch in the opposition box, it's not an issue. But if he does it in his own box, you can then let Kolomani and he can score.
Yeah. I wonder, this may take a deeper dive into the statistics, but I wonder if there's any kind of correlation between the number of errors that lead to shots and the number of errors that have led to goals for Arsenal, whether that's a sort of slightly higher proportion. Because one of the things about, I think I heard someone talking about this after the Wolves game, is that similar thing that people said about City a couple of years ago, was that they were really, really good, but then when something happened that they're so controlled, and it's a similar thing with Arteta, that when something that happens outside of the plan, they don't quite know how to deal with it.
Yeah, so they get scared.
So everyone, every team will make mistakes. Every team will make mistakes that lead to shots. But I wonder whether there is anything to the idea that they kind of might frankly short circuit when something goes wrong.
I would 100% think that is the case, because like everything they do has to be super controlled, and so you have to kind of be perfect with it. And it's not even muscle memory relying on it. It's you're choosing to do things, so they have to constantly think. It must be quite tiring. It's where things that I can see, like, I don't think it's physical exhaustion where they make it a bit mentally tiring, because you're constantly having to think all the time. And if you're in a position where you feel a bit comfortable, like you probably did at 1-0 up, and then you try something because you're maybe not thinking exactly what's happening at that minute. But otherwise, you put yourself in a state, like a stress state, where you're always having to worry about every single thing going wrong, which is when things do.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. Speaking of worrying, Nick, do you think that Arsenal fans, I mean, presumably they will be worrying less now, but do you feel as though there's still cause for concern, having watched them over the games in 2026 so far?
Yeah, possibly. I mean,
do you think they're going to win?
They're two different questions. I do think they're still going to win the title, because they are kind of they have flaws, but they are the least flawed of the teams around.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is still potential cause for concern. Is kind of classic old thing of you beat Tottenham. Does this mean all your problems are solved, or does it mean you were just playing Tottenham?
Right. And a very, very bad Tottenham. Yeah.
Who have half the team out, new manager that no one knows, who was really he seemed to be just constantly at the players
on the touchline,
particularly Mickey van der Ven. He was just there was a clip that I saw this morning, and he was kind of yelling at Van der Ven to push up, and the look on Van der Ven's face was just, shut up, man, just leave me alone.
This is the impression I get of Tudor, though. It's kind of what I don't know if I said it on podcast or it's just something I was talking about outside of being on camera, but like Tudor's to other teams, I watched a lot of his other teams he's managed just to see what kind of thing to expect, and what I saw was what we saw. He needs to be super intense and super passionate and aggressive, and if everyone doesn't buy into that, you're not going to get it. And it's a lot of like, they'll recycle the ball sometimes, but you have players like at Juventus, you had Locatelli, who's amazing at being able to like pin everything together and be the like, he's literally a pivot. Like, everyone pivots around him. But if he's not literally a pivot, that doesn't make sense. You can't literally be a pivot. What is a pivot?
It's someone that everything moves. It's something everything moves.
But
around.
Is it a physical item?
Yes.
No, I mean, it probably is, but the way in which most people would use it would not be as a physical item, but as a description of a movement.
If a table's faulty at a restaurant, like it's shaky at a restaurant, you put on something underneath it, that would be a pivot, wouldn't it?
Would it?
The central point, pin, or shaft on which a mechanism turns or oscillates.
Oh, you're talking about yourself again.
Shaft.
Absolutely. I had a great point there. It was probably good. Oh, yes. Locatelli.
You derailed yourself.
The central shaft.
Welcome to the podcast. But a lot of what I saw is like what a lot of managers do, where they'll it's super aggressive man-to-man. That's what especially Juventus were doing. Like man-to-man, you're pushing high, and you saw what Spurs wanted to do from the very start. They just came out super aggressive. And what I think I saw in the first few minutes, where they started really aggressive, trying to go man-to-man, because that's a way to try and take on Arsenal. Arsenal players, I think, figured it out on the spot and started drifting around, dragging players out of position, because that's the best way to make that not work. And what you saw was something that they worked on in the training ground probably all week, being pulled apart in the first few minutes. And like practicing something over and over again does not prepare you for the game situation and the pressure and the crowd and everything. I think that pause when the referee's phone wasn't working, whatever the hell it was. His headset.
Yeah.
You can't listen to music anymore.
Yeah.
And so that probably...
I must listen to Brian Eno to make the right choice.
Exactly. Endless Love was on repeat.
Yes.
And he wanted to listen to it. But when that derailed it, I think that probably saved Spurs, because I think, honestly, people will say I'm wrong, but I feel like Arsenal could have gone 2-3-0 up in the first 15, 20 minutes, because they were starting to fall apart.
They had 82% of possession for the first 8 minutes or something, right? Like it looked like...
It were taking one goal for the dam to collapse.
But it was so funny because the build-up to the game was... Spurs fans were kind of pumped. They were sort of up for it. The stadium seemed scary. I was watching it thinking like, do you know what? Maybe this is the game where Arsenal are going to stumble a little bit. And then within seconds of the ball being kicked, I went, oh no. Yes, I forgot. I somehow managed to trick myself. I've seen this Spurs team so many times this season. They are bad.
But new managers give you the opportunity to have a new, I don't want to say narrative, but I'll do it anyway.
Yeah, is that already gone? Like,
this is
if the thing is, you can bring a new manager in and get that mythical bounce. Is that positive vibe already dissipated?
It's so easy to say yes, and then they end up winning all the other games. And you look really stupid, but it
has happened to you before.
I can see the foresight and hindsight of what it is, right?
Yeah.
So. Lots of managers come in and if they start really well, people buy into what they're doing, and then they get this narrative as though they're really good, when actually the things they were doing were going to work or not anyway. It's just, So, Tudor had a game plan. If it works, he's a genius. If it doesn't, then he's not. But it's just his game plan is the thing. Mm-hmm. So they've gone into that game the way he wanted to. He didn't maybe get full commitment from all the players, or they just weren't capable of doing it. He's got a really weak squad, and Dragi's is clearly nowhere near. I feel bad for him, actually. No, I don't feel bad for him. I don't like slagging off players. It's not really nice.
No.
But he just was nowhere near it. He made Gyökeres look like Ronaldo.
I know Spurs fans that would agree with that.
Right. So that's the thing. So, but there were loads of errors. There's loads of things not working. João Palhinha at centre back. I can see why it makes sense on paper, but it's not paper. It's not. You can do these things with Juventus maybe when you've got a talent advantage, and there's a confidence advantage. But now you've got a team with a whole squad on the injury list. I'm getting myself in.
Let me ask you this question, because they've got. Here's the next 4 games, right? I think these are really, given Spurs' position, I think these are really hard or huge fixtures. If we're going to consider them in a relegation battle, then 2 of these are relegation games, right? Next up, they're away at Fulham on Sunday, which is that's a tricky
Fulham
game.
are really good.
Yeah, that's a really tricky game, particularly if you're a Spurs team learning how to play in new positions, looking uncomfortable doing so. Okay, they've got a week to practice, but...
And just for tactical stuff as well, if you're trying to play man-to-man aggressive against them, Marco Silva 100% already knows exactly where and when to pull you apart to get them in behind.
So you can see them losing that, right? Okay. Then they're at home to Palace. That's a big mega game.
It's 0-0.
That's very funny, that game. Then they're away to Liverpool.
The kind of team they'll probably beat.
Possibly.
Weirdly.
Who knows? Liverpool is still pushing for
Liverpool feel a bit
position,
mid,
right?
and they're missing a bit of heat in the middle.
And then on the 22nd of March, they're at home to Forest, which is, that's such a fun game, isn't it? That's going to really be a fun one.
Everyone turned to me. I am Nottingham Forest.
I'm not sure if everyone turned in fear for you or in excitement that Forest are maybe going to beat Spurs, and that'll be the one that, as West Ham go past everyone, of course, so that I win I've got a lunch wager related to West Ham, so forget about that. But I don't know. Do you think it's possible for them to get relegated? I know it is possible. Do you think they will get relegated, Spurs?
No, I still think it will be West Ham just.
Sure.
But they are very bad. Yeah. And they're kind of very bad, obviously, with all these injuries, but I don't know.
Don't the teams below them just look better, though? Like West Ham, I've watched Forest recently as well. Like, we'll talk about them later today. A bit unfortunate not to come away with some points against Liverpool, but both of those teams have shown a lot of positivity and they've put in good performances in a way that Spurs just haven't at all.
And even if you just go on the basics of how many Tottenham players would get into Team X kind of thing. You take Forest, for example. I don't know how many of the defenders you're taking for maybe Van der Ven and
Right now, Ola Aina would definitely get in the Spurs team. You'd put Williams in the Spurs team.
Yeah, absolutely.
Milenkovic
most of the midfield, Anderson, Sangare, the way he's playing at the moment.
Yeah.
But you probably have. I mean, Forest haven't got any sort of strikers that actually score goals, so which is a bit of an issue. But so you know,
Spurs haven't either.
Yeah.
well, you probably you take
Solanke
or one of those guys, maybe Richarlison as well. But yeah, purely on that basis, they just haven't got very many good footballers, which is bad. I think that's bad.
I think it is. It's very
and
concerning.
Yeah, they're doing okay in the Champions League.
Yeah, it's weird.
Super weird. Yeah.
Who do you think is going to get relegated? Just going to ask this question every week, I think.
Yeah, I think you are, and your narrative will shift depending on the results.
No, it's just in the hope. It's just in the hope that someone doesn't say West Ham. I don't want people to say West Ham. I'm desperate for that lunch.
Yeah, I think it's about momentum. I agree with what you're saying. I think West Ham will have some momentum. That balloon can be popped very easily. I think
lunch momentum.
Spurs have the problem that it's become, and I mean this with the greatest of respect to Spurs fans. Again, please don't attack me online. It's like funny that they're bad, and the decisions
most neutrals
they've made
would want them to be relegated because that's the funniest outcome.
It's funny. The same way that Arsenal not winning the league is funny.
Yeah.
Right? So that would be funny.
Yeah.
So Spurs...
It's not funny if West Ham or Forest get relegated.
No,
it's just boring.
Not. Exactly.
It is quite funny if Forest get relegated.
It's a bit funny. It's more... It's funnier that if Forest get relegated than it is if West Ham get relegated to more people, I think.
Funnier if Forest get relegated than Leeds as well. That's much
Leeds isn't funny.
Leeds is not that funny.
Yeah.
West Ham could be funny.
West Ham, no.
I'm not saying West Ham isn't funny at all.
The prospects of West Ham playing, I don't want to be mean to Lincoln or whoever in the Olympic Stadium on a Friday night.
That's funny. Okay, let's go through the teams and list the reasons why it's funny. Okay, for West Ham, it's funny for other London clubs that don't like West Ham.
They sacked Moyes to try and become bigger, and it hasn't worked out.
It's funny because they thought they were too good for David Moyes, and they're not. That's funny. It is funny because of their big stadium. Yeah, that'll be funny in there. And also, it's funny just because they've I don't know how they've managed to it up this bad. Right, that is funny.
Yeah.
Forest, it's funny, Nick, because Marinakis,
the 4 managers in a season, that's pretty funny.
That is funny.
It's about 200 million quid in the summer.
Oh my
that's
God.
Pretty funny.
That's so funny.
There's I don't know. I'll tell you what would be funny. Well, Edu, that's quite funny. It's funny that there is it's a fairly slim chance, but there is a slim chance that Forest could win the Europa League and get relegated.
And that's always funny.
Which is Champions League in the Championship is fun.
Oh, I love that. Fun and funny.
And the Europa League final is like 4 days before the last game of the Premier League season.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a week that's going to be.
Yeah.
And JJ, why is it funny if Spurs get relegated?
I'm so glad you asked me. So Spurs have fired. So they fired Ange Postecoglou, who won them their first European trophy in a long time.
That's funny.
Manchester United in the European final. They celebrated it, and then they fired Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah,
then they went for
funny.
a manager who's exactly the opposite of what Ange Postecoglou does, and they fired him after he was drinking from an Arsenal cup.
The Arsenal Cup
You
is
do
so
forget about the
funny.
Arsenal
Really
Cup,
good.
don't you?
Did you see the fan who brought like an inflatable of Thomas Frank in an Arsenal shirt to the game? That was very funny.
They also got rid of however it happened, Daniel Levy left. So the guy who's turned them into one of the most successful businesses in the football world.
Yeah.
Wherever you think of him, has gone.
Imagine if they do get relegated, Daniel Levy is going to be walking around the stadium going,
He's
"Well, you know what?
Exactly. Like, you wanted.
I'm not
You were
saying
ambitious.
It was all fine when I left.
Yeah, exactly.
The decisions are being made by that guy who used to work for Arsenal. Which
Vinay Venkatesha.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's funny. That is funny.
Agent Vinay.
Yeah, so they don't have any of their like good players. They all abandoned them. You know,
Sure.
like Harry Kane went. Son, I mean, I'm being facetious here.
No,
obviously.
sure.
You get the idea.
Everyone got injured, which is less funny, I guess. But they've got the best stadium in the world.
They have spent like their net spend. We did it on one of the Athletic shows last week. I've worked out their net spend is something like the 6th most. They've spent like €1.5 billion on
Right.
players over the last 10 years.
Yeah,
And they're all shit.
sure.
That's funny.
They have been very unfortunate that their best ones have just not been able to play any football at all.
And also, the injury thing is really, really real. Like,
It is real.
When you put it on their tactics board and you see the players they don't have, you're like, that is a team that is very...
It's kind of funny.
It's actually quite a good squad that they've got,
Yeah.
all in all.
Yeah.
But right now, It's quite funny.
Yeah, and that squad will be amazing in the Championship. Watching Spurs in I want it to happen.
Well, the other thing is, and again, like we are being facetious, right? We're not being deadly serious. It would obviously be sad for Spurs fans, but it is funny.
I'm being completely serious.
Right, okay. I mean,
I think it would be funny. And obviously I feel sorry for Spurs fans who wouldn't find it funny. I'm simply saying I would find it funny.
The players would all want to leave. All of them.
Of course.
There's not a single one there who I think would actually be like, I'm going to stay and get this club up. Who would do it in that squad right now?
Who's that 19-year-old who played? I can't remember his name.
Archie Gray.
Yeah, Archie Gray.
Archie Gray,
Archie Gray would stay.
Love that guy. Great player.
Is Hugo Lloris there?
Conor Gallagher would stick around.
Vicario, he'd stay.
Conor Gallagher would stick around.
Conor Gallagher would, well, only just because he's just arrived, and it's a bit like.
I was asking, I can't remember who it was in the office last week. I think it was some Spurs fans. I was asking, who are the players in that Spurs team who the fans relate to? Who are the ones that they love? You know, like because you want a connection.
Bergvall. They love Bergvall.
Great player. He's going to be so good in the future.
He couldn't stay. I mean, even if he wanted to, someone would have to take him away.
I can see him staying because he could get games in the Championship, so that's good.
He could.
He's a really decent player, but like they don't have that player who is, you know,
talismanic.
Yeah, that's maybe the word.
You know who it would be? It would be. Oh my God, the Mr. Red Card, Argentina Red Card.
Romero.
Yeah, it would be Christian Romero, except because I think if you're a Spurs fan, he is quite lovable.
Well, apparently the old boys don't like him at all because his head's loose, but like the younger ones really like him
because
if he tightened his head up, they'd love him.
Well, I mean that is quite good. This is the thing. So
head loose for a team managed by Tudor is that's
oh, there you go.
That's good.
You managed to work it in.
Got it in. Great.
He's a World Cup winning defender, right? So you think like world class, he is a very good player.
Yeah.
But like it's the player it's the one who runs around and gets everyone to get to their level. Who is that in that team?
It was Moussa Dembele. It was.
Well, like Conor Gallagher is probably the closest to that.
But you can't love him yet because he's only just arrived.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he's the one who'd be like
after a year in the Championship. I mean, look, let's be honest. They're probably not going to get relegated because the funniest thing often doesn't happen. But I do think by the end of next year,
what's that law? It's not Murphy's law. That's Spurs law.
That's just like boring real life law, you know. Although it would be quite annoying. The funniest thing would soon stop being the funniest thing if it always happened. You know.
Yeah.
If the imp of the perverse ruled the world.
It's a real stress test of the kind of the principle. You kind of mentioned it a minute ago of where teams appoint the new manager as a complete reaction to the old guy. Like Frank was a kind of reaction to Postecoglou, but Tudor seems like a sort of reaction to Frank as well. In as much as there was this vague sense that Frank was too nice for a job.
Yeah, really passive. Yeah.
So you brought, with the greatest respect to Igor Tudor, someone who can be an arsehole to everyone for a few months, and he can do that because it doesn't matter because he's not going to be there in a few months anyway. That might work, might not, but yeah, it's a real kind of the test of the idea that you have to have the opposite thing.
Yeah. And in this case, maybe they've spurned and wasted the opposite thing immediately because they lost that first game and. Presumably, all the wind is out of their sails.
Yeah, back to the early point you asked about where the momentum's all gone. This happens with managers. If you don't get it straight away, the players I don't think buy in the same way the fans don't. And I think Tudor he already seems shocked by what he's come into. He's already started saying things like what the other managers have. He's been there for about 8 days.
Yeah.
That's not good.
No.
He also said that Arsenal are the best team in Europe, which is what Thomas Frank said, which didn't really win over Spurs fans straight away.
Was he drinking out of an Arsenal mug?
Do you know what, though? I think that's completely uncontroversial. And I think Spurs fans, you know... I haven't heard a Spurs fan say yet that we're listening to Igor Tudor say that has upset them or they disagree with it. I've heard a lot of people say that's the kind of thing that will upset Spurs fans. And I think if you are coming in as a permanent manager, like Thomas Frank was, then saying that is the sort of thing that it probably does kind of irk fans. But I wonder if the one with Igor Tudor is just... I know you want to twist the knife,
but it's the problem with it is it might well be true, but it just sounds self-serving because you say, well, they're the best team in the world, so what can I do about that?
Sure.
When there were potentially things you could have done about that, and
it
also sorry,
it's like isolating as the manager.
Yeah, and it also sounds quite stupid to say, well, they're the best team in the world, so what can I do about that when they'd drawn with Wolves a few days earlier?
Yeah, that's very fair.
That's brought me down to earth. Yeah.
Okay, tell you what, let's play the Rondo. I'm very excited about today's Rondo. First, we'll go for a break, but when we come back, it's time for the Rondo. Welcome back from that advertisement. I hope it was everything that you desired. Now, let's play the Rondo. Here's the category for today's game. Of course, you'll know, Nick Miller, that this evening, as we record, Manchester United and Everton play each other in a Premier League game of football, don't they? So today's category for the Rondo is players, male players, that have played for both Everton and Manchester United in the Premier League era. I won't have any people that came before, because as we know, football wasn't real before 1992. So that's the category. Here's how the rules work, okay? We go round in a circle. There are, I think, 18 distinct answers to this question. If you cannot name one or you name the wrong person, you are out. And we keep going round until there's one final contender standing. That person is named the captain. Yeah, captain of the Rondo. Rondo King, okay? Are you ready to play?
Yes.
Yes?
Who goes first?
Well, I will decide momentarily. Are you ready to play?
Yes.
Are you ready to play?
So
Kaya?
ready.
Okay, we're all ready. Nick, I'm going to start with you. Please name a Premier League player who's played for both Everton and Arsenal.
Philip Neville.
Man United.
I've said it wrong immediately.
Good job. I wasn't really listening
Technically,
to you.
you're wrong. Yeah. Okay, you're right, Steve. Let's do that again. A Premier League player that's played for Everton and Manchester United.
Philip Neville.
Correct. Kaya.
Morgan Schneiderlin.
Oh, that's a good one. Correct. JJ.
Wayne
Rooney, of course, perhaps the most famous. Nick?
Romelu Lukaku.
Yes, Romelu Lukaku.
Marouane Fellaini.
Marouane Fellaini, you're absolutely right, Kaya. JJ?
James Garner.
James coming in with the Swifty. James Garner, yes.
Tim Howard.
Tim Howard's on here.
Oh, that's good.
Kaya?
Michael Keane.
Michael Keane's on here as well.
Nice.
Absolutely. Okay, JJ, you're looking a bit scared.
Why did you say him? Okay, just give me just...
There remain 10 names.
Yeah.
And you know all of them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Just to let you know, in case you weren't sure, if I said any of these names to you, you would go, oh, for sake.
Yes.
Yeah?
I know all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And
5.
The name I'm going to
4,
say
3
is
2, 1.
Andy Cole.
No, Andy Cole's not on the list.
But I admire that because Andy Cole is one of... He played for them, did he? He could very plausibly play for
He
Everton.
could have
I had
done.
Michael Keane was my placeholder so I could get to the next one.
Oh, no.
Sorry about that.
Unfortunately, Kaya stole your placeholder away from you. Well, there you go. JJ's out of the game. Worry, Nick. That's pretty normal. JJ, the Rondo stresses JJ out.
It looks like it.
I want to be good at it.
Okay, over to you, Nick.
Andrei Kanchelskis.
Yes, and welcome to the part of the game where JJ moans every time we get an answer. Kaya.
Darren Gibson.
Yes, Darren Gibson. Absolutely. JJ, would you like to moan?
It's a really good one. Well done.
Thank you,
Nick.
Louis Saha.
Louis Saha, of course. Yeah. Kaya.
I'm in trouble now.
Oh, it's getting tricky. There is actually one name on this list that I think we won't know. I didn't know.
We
this
won't
name.
know?
Yeah.
Can you tell me that name and I can say it?
Absolutely not.
Man.
Oh, tough. It's a toughie, isn't it? Nick, you still have to think because even if you can't get it, you've got to get one more in order to win. Okay.
I keep thinking Leighton Baines. I know that's not my answer. I know it's not true because he kept getting linked to Man United all the time.
Yeah.
But it's not true. It's not
It's
the answer.
not true. It isn't true.
Yeah.
There's some fairly recent ones as well.
Man.
And 5.
Man alive.
4, 3.
Look
2.
over there.
Oh, he tricked me. 1. Say a name. Say any name. Say a name. Say a footballer.
Leighton Baines.
Not Leighton Baines. Good Lord. No. Okay, Nick, if you can name a player that played for both Manchester United and Everton, you are today's Rondo King. I'll give you a clue.
Don't give me a clue. No. Don't patronise me.
What a shame. I just really wanted to give this clue because it's such a good clue. Seems as though we're not going to have a winner here today.
Hang on. You are hanging on. That's the point of it. Jesper Blomqvist.
Yes, but Jesper Blomqvist. There you go. Congratulations. Congratulations.
What was your clue?
My clue was, when your lights don't work at home, what kind of trade person do you call?
Electrician.
Yeah, but what else do you call an electrician?
Sparky.
Yeah,
Oh.
Mark Hughes. Mark Hughes, of course, you could have had Mark Hughes. You also could have had
Ashley Young.
Nick's bottle very loud.
Yes.
You could have had Ashley Young.
Ashley Young's a very
Do you want to
good
guess
shout.
any more, Steve?
I was the one. I was really hoping Nick didn't get it. Sorry, Nick. So I could sweep in to nick it with Ashley Young.
Young.
But yes,
you could
good
also
one,
have
Chris.
had Donny van der Beek, of
Oh,
course.
James, yeah.
You could have had Josh King, played for both teams.
Oh, yeah.
You could have also
Norway.
had Tom Cleverley, of course, Tom Cleverley.
yeah.
And then the name I didn't know, curious if anyone knows, John O'Kane.
Yeah. He
John
was
O'Kane?
a midfielder, I think. Midfielder
Right.
or fullback.
There you go.
He was one of the...
He played in one of the 4 football positions. Oh, 5 if you include goalkeeper.
well, he was. I think he was one of the players who was sort of class of '92 era, but wasn't as good as
Right.
the rest of them.
Right. There you go, John O'Kane. Well, that was it. That was the Rondo. Congratulations. Nick, you are Captain Rondo. Well done. Now, Captain Rondo, let's discuss Nottingham Forest. That's your reward.
From my joy to my pain.
Of course, Nottingham Forest, Nick, as you'll know, suffered an agonising last-minute defeat at home to Liverpool, writes Steve, which very much keeps them in the relegation picture. They are currently just 2 points ahead of an ever-improving West Ham United. Now, this is a far cry from the end of last season, of course, where Forest finished 7th, 1 point away from the Champions League places. It's been a season as turbulent as the rapids that bestride the River Trent in Nottingham itself, writes Steve.
I can't remember that many rapids on the Trent, but there you go. Okay,
At the National Water Centre, not naturally occurring, of course.
which isn't the River Trent, but fine.
Look at that, Steve preempted your response. There you go. Now, of course, we thought with having you here today that we would try and dig a little deeper into this. We talked a little bit about Forest last season. I mean, as a starting point, would you like to say anything about... we're going to talk about them more broadly, but would you like to say anything about this weekend's game? Because it seemed as though they were a little unfairly... you could have seen them come out with points, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, even Arne Slot said that the at least a draw was the fair result. I think it is a bit of a problem with that Forest have encountered a few times this season, is that they played very well but just couldn't score any goals.
Yeah,
which is a problem because that's the point of it.
that's how you win the games.
But yeah, it is a little bit. It's quite difficult to figure out what to think of Forest for the rest of the season based on that. Because do you think, well, they played very well against Liverpool, therefore they'll play very well against other teams and maybe score some goals in that one and everything will be fine?
Yeah.
Or do you think, well, this is just the same problem happening over and over again, and they don't have a striker who scores goals and they're kind of desperately hoping for Chris Wood to come back at some point.
Yeah.
I think there was some talk that he might be back by April time, something like that.
Okay.
Which
For the run-in?
for the run-in, which is in theory good, but you are then relying on a 34-year-old striker who hasn't played for most of the season to save you, which might work.
It's Chris Wood, though.
It is Chris Wood.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's. I mean, it's just been complete chaos for the whole season. So predicting the rest of it is
it's tricky.
Foolish.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose that's maybe the better place to start, because at the beginning of the season, do you think, were you considering this as a possibility, or do you think Forest fans were considering this? Because people seem to be relatively positive based on, obviously, their achievements of last season.
Yeah, no one was thinking that they were going to be in a relegation. I think that the realistic people would have thought that last season was an overperformance, and they wouldn't be in the European places again. You'd kind of think, well, with the European football to can think of again, they'll maybe finish 11th or 12th or something like that. Particularly with the money that was spent in the summer as well, and it's quite impressive that they managed to spend about sort of near enough £200 million, and the first team is pretty much the same as it was last season with one or two differences. Elanga went, and there's been a rotating cast of people sort of replacing him on the right wing. Chris Wood's obviously been out for the rest of the season, and Igor Jesus has played there for most of the season. But beyond that, it's kind of pretty much the same team, which is impressive in some ways to have spent that amount of money and all of them to not be much good.
Yeah. To what also do you attribute the fact that your team has now gone through the most managers in a single Premier League season? Because obviously, you know, some of those departures seem sort of more understandable or reasonable or fair than others. But chaos is the word, isn't it? I mean,
it's all if you look at them all the decisions to change managers individually, they all make a certain amount of sense, or you could argue in their favour.
Yeah,
Nuno relationships obviously broken down. That couldn't really go on. Who you kind of blame for that is another thing entirely. So you would kind of think, well, that's, you know, can't really blame him for making that change. Postecoglou was never going to work. He's admitted it's never going to work. But the fact that they sacked him after 8 games is a kind of admission from the club that it was never going to work. So you could argue that that was obviously a mistake, but a mistake that was corrected in, you know, sharp time. Dyche, the players clearly weren't having him. Football was dreadful. They weren't actually, you know, winning games. There was this kind of run of games where you kind of thought, okay, that's where you pick up points, like Wolves and Leeds and a couple of other teams, and they couldn't beat Wolves despite having 35 shots or something like that.
Yeah.
So you would think, okay, well, you know, maybe you think with the kind of run of the rest of the season, that's a good time to make a change as well. But then when you all sort of pile it all together, it just looks like a complete mess.
Let's stick with Dyche for a minute, because I feel as though he's like a manager that's gone through a bit of a reputational change over the last couple of years. Like when he was at Burnley, he commanded obviously a huge amount of respect at the team, but also I feel like all the media were very, very fond of him. He's quite funny. He was, you know,
says it how it is.
He says it how it is. He's got like this kind of reputation of being able to draw points out of difficult matches. And he went to Everton, it doesn't really work. And he went to Forest, and it didn't really work. And I feel as though like his reputation is I mean, it's not obviously as stellar as it once was, but like, what does his future look like, do you think?
I don't know. I'm not sure really how much his reputation has taken much of a battering.
Do you think it hasn't?
Well, because he was, for the first year at Everton, they were good.
Sure.
I mean, they weren't good, but he did the job that he was expected to do.
Yeah.
And I think Forest have become, certainly this season, one of those clubs where you can just go, well, you can't really hold that against him. It's a complete mess there.
Do you think that's a misnomer though, or do you think that's fair? Like, should he be regarded by, you know, general Premier League fans as having all of the qualities and skills that we assume, or do you think there's maybe like he's in the same way that like people are talking at the moment about like that theory that being Brentford coach makes you look amazing relative to what you can actually do? Like, do you think there's a chance that Dyche's quality has been like blown? Maybe.
I mean, he did the job that Forest wanted him to do at Everton, so maybe I suppose arguing slightly against the thing that I just said is I don't really know where he would go next. Maybe like certainly not this season. Maybe next season if one of the promoted clubs, it goes badly for them and
Spurs in the Championship.
Well, maybe they bring him in for. It will be interesting to see how much of whether the Forest thing, because it was starting to look like it wasn't working, whether that's enough to change his reputation as a kind of firefighter, whatever. Bring Dyche in and he'll sort everything out and you'll be fine. I think it probably won't, but I don't know.
What do you think?
The question is whether Sean Dyche has lost his pizzazz.
Yeah, like, or just whether not if he's lost his pizzazz, but like whether people are starting to look at him in a slightly different way. He was kind of like, you know, English manager.
I can even say like what I think of him, because I think I've changed the way I see it as well. Because when he was at Burnley, I think that team was kind of built in his image because it was built over time, and he had like characters who he could relate to, and they were like Sean Dyche. You know, they were big, like fridge freezer lads who could smash the way in. They were hard to beat. They were hard to break down. Yeah. They made use of set pieces, all that sort of stuff. But they made the most of they squeezed the most juice out of that particular lemon.
And he was indisputably King Lemon.
He was the king of the lemons. He was a massive lemon.
Yeah.
And so when you go to other clubs, like you can try and do those same things, but the first thing you do is you try and make them less porous. You stop teams going through you. You make it you make yourself harder. So you bring in characters. You don't bring in like technical players. You try and make him. It's quite David Moyes-ish, really. You just make them horrible to play against because that's the basis. You start from there. But managers like Sean Dyche, and I'll just throw in Tony Pulis it's a bit lazy to just do that. But like managers like that, what you see is like some managers can teach or coach like passing football and ways to play through the lines and intricate things that require quite a lot of control. If you don't have great individual players, maybe you can motivate individual technical players to do amazing things. Maybe you can orchestrate how they play on the pitch to get them into the places, to give them some freedom, or maybe you orchestrate absolutely everything. And that's what, like, Arteta's like that. Everything is orchestrated, and he's been phenomenal at it. Whereas Dyche seems to be like, make them really hard to play against and take advantage of the small gains you can get, knowing that there's a talent level between you and other teams. But other managers can get more out of them. Like Marco Silva, I think, probably has similar-ish players in the past, but makes them play different kinds of football. And so whereas in the past, I think, maybe this is unfair, but like a lot of old school journalists would like Sean Dyche because he says it like how it is, And also he plays. There's no like fancy like philosophies from foreign places. It is just he does the things that people recognize, and that is what football is. It's core. If you have people who are strong, aggressive, fast, like powerful, do the right things, organized, you will get results. So that's there. But you need more than that now, I think. And so I think what I'm trying to get to is that I always thought maybe you put Sean Dyche in at like Man United and he would get the results. Sam Allardyce at Real Madrid, he would get the results. But I think the first time we saw it not really work was probably when Sam Allardyce went to Newcastle and it just didn't. It didn't work the way it was supposed to. And then if you see like Sean Dyche went to Everton, stabilised them, they were in trouble, and they didn't have any players. Like they were in a bit of a mess. But then they just didn't. All their goals are coming from set pieces. So I think you see there are probably, it's not levels. Like he's an elite coach. Like he makes players better.
Yeah. And I always think back to his Burnley team as well. That thing where he encouraged his defenders to give the opposition players just outside the box, a view of goal so they would shoot. But they would create that funnel so that they would just shoot directly to the goalkeeper. I can't remember what was the name of Burnley's goalkeeper for years?
Nick Pope.
Was it Pope? But who was before Pope?
Tom Heaton.
I think it might have been Tom Heaton. Anyway, I can't remember which player it was. But there was some statistic one season where like he caught more long shots than any other goalkeeper in the season, because Burnley created that really and you could see it in games, that very funny like defensive funnel where they'd be like, yeah, have a shot from there. And with the idea being that like the risk profile of these shots was pretty low because people don't tend to score from outside the box. That I remember hearing that and thinking like, that's really innovative. That's really cool.
I don't know, man. That's probably just a coaching point. So they're probably just going, well, if you just show them here, like you're more likely to save that shot because it's so hard to do.
Steve Hankey's leaving the room. He wants out. Where are you going, Steve?
I was just checking whether we should do points are bad before Nick goes, because the only person available in the office is Alex Barker.
Oh my God, no. Let's get Barker in. We'll get Barker. Okay. Wait, don't get him just yet. Is there anything else you would like to say about Nottingham Forest before you leave the room, Nick?
I suppose the other thing about Dyche is that, he kept arguing against this, but he obviously has this reputation of physical long ball football, and a few years ago that possibly one of the reasons that worked for Burnley and Everton to a lesser extent was that it was a bit of a point of difference, that everyone else was trying to be a bit more technical, but now teams are starting to do that. Bigger, more talented teams are starting to do that a little bit more. It isn't quite the same point of difference, and there were a couple of games with Forest where he did actually play some very nice football, but it wasn't the rule. It was for the most part, it was kind of these quite talented midfielders watching the ball kind of go over their heads. So it will be quite interesting to see whether that remains a kind of point of difference that his teams can kind of benefit from. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, because you won't be here for the intro, which we film at the end, I will have never introduced you in this, so I think I should do it now. Okay. You've been Nick Miller.
Hello.
hello, welcome, and thank you.
Thank you.
And now you can off.
That's very kind. Thank you.
All right, and everyone could just watch him leave the room.
Thank you for understanding.
You don't need to say anything else.
Okay. Just slink out.
Don't move your chair, JJ. Make it difficult for him to... Oh, it's fine.
Bye.
Bye, Nick.
That's Nick.
Bye, Nick.
There's a picture I've been looking at.
Is that an outfit?
I have been wondering what the hell you've been looking at.
What is that?
It's a parrot mask. This is a long parrot mask. A parrot's feathers can cover your neck. Our hoods are designed by professional designers and come in bright colours, making this funny parrot head mask the perfect choice for those who love parrots and want to express their love in a unique way. It doesn't say love for parrots. It just means express your love. So if you bought this and go back to your wife or husband, you can didn't know that. It also says this parrot latex mask is especially designed for adults and fits most head sizes.
Right. I mean, to be honest, I don't want to be cynical about Amazon's products, but I would expect that some people would expect the intention for that is for it to be used for sex. Right.
I think that's what it means.
All seen,
you heard the word latex and
I'm thinking we've all seen Eyes Wide Shut. You know, we've all seen people where if you showed up to that party with that mask on, the parrot mask, maybe you'd get through.
I'd watch that film. If Tom Cruise turned up wearing the parrot mask and then he looks up at the guy in the balcony, he's like, you know, sits there and he goes, he says, "Look, it fits most head sizes."
Of course, one thing that people don't know about parrots anyway is that they can't shut their eyes, they can't blink. Do you know that?
Is that true?
No, it's not true.
I like that they can talk.
Right, should we play Points of Bad?
Let's play Points of Bad.
Do you want to fetch Alex Barker?
I shall.
And I'll spend a little bit of time thinking about who deserves a Barkering
Well,
more.
it's one of Ruben or John. Or what we could do as an option is have someone else who is here do John or Ruben's instead, because John has been Barkered, Ruben has been Barkered.
I think Ruben needs a Barkering. He's getting quite far out ahead in front.
Quite far ahead, yeah.
Fetch Barker.
I shall.
Get him.
Okay, here
hello,
he is.
Mr. Barker. Here he is.
That's lovely, that's lovely. Thank you.
He's truly ready to give a Barkering. Now, before we get started, your Barkering mustn't be too fierce today, but a slight Barkering would be appreciated because Ruben's getting a little bit far ahead. So you'll be playing as Ruben today, okay?
Okay.
And Steve, you can play as John.
Okay.
Which I'm sure it won't take you too long to get into character. Have you started yet?
Yeah, no, I was just there.
Okay.
Let's put on his parrot mask.
Okay, are you ready to play Points of Bad, JJ?
I need to bring something up.
What? What do you need to bring up?
Recall for me, if you will, last week
I know what you're going to say.
when you said that something about how I was not winning and that 0-0 was not a valid choice.
I never said you weren't winning.
Let me show the court, please.
Just to be clear,
on 15th September.
I never said you weren't winning. But go ahead.
Rewind the tape. On this 15th of September, the league table was as follows: Ruben 24 points, last place.
Yeah.
Joe Devine joint last place, 24 points. Kaya 23 points.
It's a good
John 22 points. The 1-1 bot on 17, and in first place, leading the way with 0-0 scores entirely because that's what I thought would happen. was me, 16 points.
Yeah. No. Congratulations.
Then you phoned Ruben, didn't you, on holiday?
Yeah.
And Ruben gave his scores.
Yeah.
So guess who's top of the table now?
It's Ruben. Because
do you know who you didn't phone?
Was it you?
Who you didn't phone?
You got Barker.
Yeah. And then this guy. This guy.
He has also Barkered Ruben as well, though. He's Barkered everyone
and
except
for
me.
you, I really did try for you as well.
He really tried for you.
Yeah.
He said Newcastle would beat Barcelona 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that Arsenal would beat Man City 3-0.
I think those are both very believable.
Well, that's what you said at the time as well.
Yeah, I think truly believe, like you believed that all those games would be 0-0. I believe that those results.
I put it to you, the jury of Points Are Bad, that I have been sabotaged.
Yeah.
JJ, may I just say that when I Barker for John, I can't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure the number 6 was in there.
You said 5-6 for one score.
Yeah, so
with John.
If you think that was sabotage, that's fine. We'll just remember it for next time, and maybe we'll go.
I rest my case.
Well, there's no case to rest. All I will say, I never said you weren't winning. I simply said that the reason I banned you from just repeatedly saying 0-0 was not because you were winning. That's all I said, and that's true.
What other possible reason could there be?
Because you were tearing apart the fabric of the game. The game doesn't work. The game doesn't exist solely for your joke. That's why I banned it. Everyone else was trying, and you weren't trying. I was punishing you like you were in school.
Agree to disagree.
You can't, because it's a subject.
I rest my case.
All right, fine. Well, you lost this week again somehow.
Did I?
Magnificently. You got 6
Wow,
points.
what did I say the scores would be?
You said 0-0 for both games. Yeah. So you've got to pick the fixtures for next week.
All right.
What are you going for?
Do we need to stay Premier League? Always.
No, we don't have to, no.
Can we do one deviation to Scottish Premiership? There's
Yeah.
a big game on. All right, cool. So I think we'll do Arsenal-Chelsea.
When's that? Is that on
It's Sunday the 1st.
Oh, what
Yeah.
a big game that is. Good lord.
That is the next Sunday coming up.
Yeah,
Is it?
that's
February,
the
March,
coming Sunday.
It is this coming Sunday.
Also, the Scottish Premiership is mad this season, and Rangers are playing Celtic at 12 o'clock on Sunday.
And Rangers are the home side.
That's correct.
Right, here we go. Let's begin. JJ, I should say with the scores that were added last week, JJ, you added 6 because you predicted 0-0 for both. I added 5, despite thinking that Spurs would win 2-1. So I added 4 on that game, but I was not far off with Liverpool Forest. The 1-1 bot added 4. John and Kaya, you added 3. Congratulations. And Ruben, who's about to get Barkered, only added 2 last week. Very impressive from Ruben, which means as it stands, the current scores are JJ is still in last place on 126. I am in second last place on 107. John's on 101, so that gap is starting to grow there. Kaya on 100, you're clinging tight. Ruben 97. Let's see what we can do about that today. Okay, so let's begin. You first, please, JJ. Please predict for me the scoreline of Arsenal-Chelsea.
I believe the scoreline of Arsenal versus Chelsea will be 2-1. No, I can't do 1-1. 2-1.
2-1 to Arsenal.
Yes.
That's probably the safest pick, isn't it? Okay, and then is it Celtic or Rangers at home?
Rangers at home.
Okay, so Rangers-Celtic.
I believe that will be 2-2.
Oh my God, that'll be an exciting game, wouldn't it? Right, who's next? It's me. Arsenal-Chelsea. I'm going to say 1-0 Arsenal. Seems a safe bet. And then for Rangers-Celtic, I have absolutely no idea.
Just some context?
Who's ahead in? Yeah, give me some context.
I'll just get the table so I can get the actual numbers. So
A Hearts still at the top.
the Hearts are still top.
Wow.
There's a little
4 points clear.
There's a really fun narrative unfolding in which Motherwell are gathering steam and might be in amongst it.
Mother's gathering steam.
Yes, absolutely.
Jesus Christ.
So Hearts are top. They're 4 points clear of Rangers, who are second.
Wow.
Celtic are third.
Right.
They just had a bad time against Hibs.
They
John
went through-
McKenzie was there.
And they went through their bad managers. didn't
They've had a bit of a funny time as well. And so that's what's happening. So Celtic are 2 points behind Rangers, but with a game in hand.
Okay, I'm going to say that the score will be 1-2 to Celtic.
1-2 to Celtic.
Yeah, as in like 1-2-2 to Celtic. As in Rangers 1, Celtic 2.
Right, I understand that.
Okay. Right, next up to predict for today is John. So, it's you, Steve.
Yeah,
you go.
okay, John, what would he... Do I inhabit John or just do my own?
I think do your own. You've been quite successful this
Yeah,
season.
what was one of Kaya's predictions?
We don't
last-
record
No?
them and remember, Steve,
No,
but
really?
we
No.
kindly say you've done rather well. Haven't
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
Off you pop.
Okay.
Arsenal, Chelsea.
1-0 to Arsenal is gone. 2-1 to Arsenal is gone. Therefore, I'm going to go for 3-1 to Arsenal at home.
Well, he was doing well.
Rangers Celtic, I believe that will be a 3-3 draw.
Wow, 3-3 draw. They're gonna have to start calling it a hankying, aren't they?
It's not a bad bet.
No, you don't think so? Okay, Kaya, over to you. Arsenal, Chelsea.
2-0 to Arsenal.
I think that's available.
I think
isn't it?
Chelsea are going to win that. I know I said what I
so.
said, but I'm just doing something. But yeah.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. And then Rangers, Celtic.
Like you, I have absolutely no idea for this one. So I will go for 3-2 to Rangers.
Wow. Okay, how about that? And then, Mr. Barker, it's over to you. Let's begin with Arsenal, Chelsea.
Grammar noises. What should I do? I was actually going to go 2-0, but Kaya's nicked it. And we can't do 1-1. I'm going to go 0-0 for this one.
Okay, I think that seems reasonable. Yeah.
That's a good score.
Yeah, good score. And then we've got Rangers Celtic.
Now, this is going to be more interesting. Celtic and Rangers. I know Celtic can't keep a clean sheet. I know these guys love to score goals. And we've had 2-2. I think this has to be 4-4.
Wow. I think do you know what? If it's 4-4, this will be the funniest Barkering ever. All right, perfect. That seems fine. That's everything, isn't it, Steve? We finished Points Are Bad there?
We have finished Points Are Bad and we finished the show.
Fantastic. Okay, well, Steve, thank you.
You're welcome.
JJ, thank you.
Thank you.
Alex Barker, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Kaya, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks to Nick Miller. And thanks to you, viewer. I don't know what for, but see you later.